Hey Samford fans, welcome into the first of our monthly series of interviews with Director of Athletics Martin Newton. I'm John McAfee. Martin, first of all, always appreciate you taking some time.
Always enjoy being with you, Johnny Mac, and learning new things for Samford Athletics with you, my friend.
Well, this month's edition is going to focus just on COVID, what the process has been like so far, what the next couple of months will hold. First of all, it's just great to have our student athletes back on campus. I know they're not playing games, but they are practicing, and just to have them in the Pete again, it's nice to have them back.
Yeah, when they left mid-March last year, and then we didn't have them back, I guess July 24th is when we got about 183 student athletes back. And I will tell you that mid-March to mid-July was miserable. The energy on campus was for me, this old guy, I get energy from these young kids. And so it's great to have them back. I'm disappointed that they're not able to participate in fall sports, understand the reasoning behind it, and support that reasoning. Their health and safety will always be number one, but it's great to have them back. And again, I know I worry about them because I know not playing and doing what you love to be able to do on a daily basis, playing in those competitions. When you're in sports, every day is you wake up trying to win, right? And so when you don't have those competitions, so I worry about the mental health aspect of a lot of our student athletes, but we've got pretty good resources in place to try to help them with those things.
As you said, number one priority is health and safety. What are some of the precautions that have been taken, not just for the student athletes, but also the staff?
Yeah, I tell you, Matt Price and our strength and conditioning staff and our sports performance staff did a tremendous job back into mid-April, early May, when they started planning, as we started seeing CDC guidelines and the Alabama Department of Health guidelines on what we needed to do to safely bring our student athletes back. So when we hit the ground ready to come back July 24th, we brought 183 student athletes back. Every one of them were tested. We spread it out. We had an unbelievable plan for contact tracing, which, quite frankly, is more complicated than the testing. Testing's pretty easy. You test, you're either positive or you're negative, but it's at that contact tracing that I think can be overwhelming. And Matt and his team did a tremendous job of being prepared. We had, I think, 6 positive cases when we came back. We ended up quarantining 29 people, but the transition was very smooth. We continue to do daily symptom checks with temperature and a form online with the TeamWorks app that we have for our student athlete that they go on and they fill out whether or not they've got symptoms, and our coaches have all bought in. So everybody is really doing their part to try to make sure that, even though we're not having competitions, that we continue to practice, but more importantly, that they continue to go to school in person.
What has the situation been like over the last couple of weeks? You may not have an exact case number, but over the last month or so, how has it kind of unfolded?
As we got students back on campus, we saw an increase in the numbers, which is it's typical. Now, it's not anything like some of our schools in the state have seen, but it's typical that the more people that you have around, it's hard, Johnny Mac, for an 18 to 22-year-old to socially distance. I mean, they're created and college is created to be together and to find time to hang out, and so it's hard for them to do that. And I spoke at a class the other night and was talking to them about, look, the reason you wear masks and the reason you social distance and wash your hands, yes, it's for your health and safety, but see, a lot of these kids, they don't look at it, I'm not getting that sick, so this really doesn't relate to me. But who it relates to is that faculty, that staff member, that Sodexo worker, that janitor that cleans these. That's who you're doing a lot of this for. So it's got to be a total team effort, and we've got to make sure that we're protecting each other. And I'm really, that's challenging for a university. I mean, you got 5,000 plus people students on this campus. That's challenging. And so how we communicate that and how we get students to understand that and buy in so that we can make it until the end of Thanksgiving is going to be key. And so far, again, I'm really proud of what our student athletes and coaches have done.
Yeah. You touched on this a little bit, but talk about the importance of getting to Thanksgiving. That's really when in-person learning is going to come to an end. It's roughly going to be around the start of college basketball. It's crucial that we get to that point without kids having to be sent home.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And again, I go back to we don't call them students. We call them student athletes. They're here first and foremost to learn, and you know that as well as anybody as you've gotten to know our student athletes. They truly are students. They're here to get an education. Canceling the fall sports makes them even more just primarily students. And so the importance of getting through that in-person learning is so that they get the full fledge of their academic needs met. The second part of that is as we get to basketball season, that is so important from a revenue standpoint for every institution that's in Division I because of the basketball tournament revenue. if we can get that basketball tournament or season started and then finished in late March, early April, the revenue that we all receive from that basketball tournament, I think it's 92% of the revenue for the NCAA comes from the basketball. That's unbelievably important. So there's talk about moving the basketball season back to a November 25th when 76% of colleges are off campus or either online. And so that's what we're hoping is we can figure that piece of it out, create a bubble, get basketball season started. For us, we've got Jan term, so really it kind of goes through the end of January. Hopefully we can get that thing off and running with very few cases and get right on into the NCAA tournament.
Martin, appreciate your time.
As always, thank you, Johnny Mac.
It's the first in a series of monthly interviews with Director of Athletics Martin Newton. We'll be back again in October.